Hi there. If you're here, you probably already know this, but my name is David.
And I'm Sybil.
And I just yesterday, like not even, I think 20 hours ago, I beat Trails from Zero for the first time.
Oh shit, I thought we were doing Welcome to Demon School Urumakun. Well, I'll throw this aside.
I mean, you can just read from that if you want. It's fine.
I thought we were prepping for the other thing.
What was the? No, you did not. What was the shoujo manga in that? The parody one.
Something I think Sparkling Romance.
And that's why we're not doing that podcast. Okay, so
look, I'm only 5 volumes in. I thought that was season 1.
Anyway, The Legend of Heroes Trails from Zero, a video game which we have a lot of hours played on video on this channel, and then I just couldn't do it anymore. I was falling apart. The game was taking its... Like, I really like this game, but when it feels like taking its sweet-ass time to do something, it will do so, and it doesn't care what you think.
And I mean, I put it at number 3 on my list of the ones I've beat so far, so it's not like neither of us dislikes it.
I figured since while it's still fresh in my mind, we could just chat, have a nice little chat. What do you think about The Legend of Heroes Trails from Zero, Sybil?
So, I actually really enjoyed this one overall. I think you picked up the game from zero, no pun intended, and went through it again fresh. I just resumed our last save.
Yes, I believe I just sent you the whole save folder and just said figure it out.
And I did. So I came in and I sort of approached it, I think almost a year to the day later, and burned through this game. I have a total of 20 hours to finish chapters 3 to end game.
Yeah, so we did the first recording of Trails of Cold Steel 3, which was a failed recording because I screwed up the audio. I was like, okay, well, that was still fun. We'll re-record that next week. And then the next day I got a message on Discord that said, yeah, so I burned through 12 hours of Zero on high speed mode yesterday.
I might have done Zero in 3 sittings.
I'm just like, oh, you did that, huh?
A chapter per.
All right. That's all right. No, I did. I could have, in theory, but I didn't. I honestly, I feel like that might have ruined it for me if I'd gone quite that hard. So I just wanted to treat it as if it was, just how I would normally play video games, and just allow it to wash over me gently, which I did. That sentence didn't have an ending.
You take the warm bath approach. I drank from the fire hose.
I mean, I have definitely drunk from the fire hose before. Like, Void Stranger was one of the more recent fire hose examples. But I think it shows in the videos. I like poking at the games, just sort of going through at my own leisurely pace. Like, even our Resident Evil videos, pretty leisurely by that series standard.
I have been speedrun adjacent for a while. It's been a bit since I was in on racing things, but I am kind of insufferable to do co-op things with. I'm going through Sniper Elite 3 right now with a partner, and I have been told that I have this habit of somehow teleporting across the map with the speed I'm going. It's like, okay, gotcha. Oop, one enemy. Where did you go?
Lost you in the ping.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, I enjoyed this, but I also took it one arc at a time. And I didn't do that with Azure, because Azure, you'll see, but
it does seem like that one would be a bit much. from everything I've heard. I've mentioned this on the videos before, but the phrase that I saw that keeps coming to my head is that Azure's final dungeon is like 5 final dungeons, one after another. So
I'm convinced there was going to be the third for Crossbell that got scrapped and merged in as the final dungeon. I'm not kidding.
That, it's believable. They do love planning their games wrong.
Yeah, that's kind of the Trails series promise. We will never get this right. But they're still fun. They're great. They have wonderful casts.
Yeah, the thing, honestly, like, it's the thing that kicked me off of the videos, but I do appreciate how much work they put into developing just the whole city throughout the whole game, and sort of the evolution of each of the extremely largely unimportant characters until they suddenly are important sometimes, a little bit. But it feels like just sort of this big steaming mass of people that's constantly moving, but in a way, not like say a Bethesda game, since Bolivian Remaster just came out, so that's kind of in my head, where it's just like 1,000 people wandering here and there, and you talk to them, and it's like, "Oh, hello, chosen one. Goodbye." And that's all you get. But if you are willing to put the work in keeping up with all of it, it is extremely rewarding in the end. And I think this game definitely has proven that out, since like a whole bunch of really minor characters ended up being important in the end game.
I think the way I would describe it is the way that the Crossbell City cast grows and expands and shifts over time is very Ultima-esque, in that people have names, people have daily duties, people go about their schedule, and you can't watch them do it the way you can in those worlds, but everyone has an arc, even if it is just, I am going to constantly be at war with my wife until a crisis forces us to realize why we came together.
So you mean like the old man on the first floor of the Acacia, not Acacia, the West Street Apartments, who's who at the end of the game just bought a car?
Yes. Oh yeah, that is a couple that, were they not old as hell, would probably end in a bad way, but one of them will pass first, and then the absence will turn to fondness, and that will have a happy ending.
Yeah, it's like multiple times throughout the game, you find the old lady out in the hallway, and she's just like, "Oh my god, he's redecorating the whole place again." And then you go inside, and he's like, "My wife doesn't appreciate all the work that I do around here.
I just bought 17 new plates. They match this wallpaper better.
I'm buying a whole new carpet." Yeah, it's stuff like that throughout the whole game, and those people don't matter. Maybe they'll matter in Azure, but right now, they do not matter. But no, full spoilers, by the way. If for whatever reason you click on this video, which probably says Spoilercast, and you're not expecting spoilers, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. The characters who end up on the magic juice near the end, the blue pills full of the villain juice. I don't know.
Yeah, everyone who gets alchemized,
their behavior becomes extremely erratic, and if you've been paying attention, you can immediately see that.
I've been joking more about failure runs in these games, and I gotta say, it is really funny to imagine the person who just goes from story beat to story beat in this, and then maybe the most they've interacted with any of those people is the miner, and I think that's about it. I think that's the only one you have to come in contact with.
they might have like a side quests guide, and so they'll have run into the banker whose daughter found a cat. But yeah, no, I couldn't. If I wanted an experience like that, I just wouldn't come to these games. Just period. Like, it's just not. That's not how they're built. And I don't really understand, because the main story is compelling and fun on its own, but not like that much. Not like 10 games worth.
If we hadn't started doing Cold Steel 3, I was thinking about jumping forward to Reverie after finishing Azure and just doing a skip through the blatant story run and then saving New Game Plus and all the quests so I could have the unlocks later.
Gotcha.
But I won't now, just because I don't think there's any game in the series I could do that with without ruining something for our recordings.
Yeah, no, Reverie especially is like basically Cold Steel 5 and also Crossbell 3.
Yeah, I know a little about where some characters from the end of Azure end in that plot, and that's it. Kia, the Chief, Zeit, Wazy.
Wazy?
I can't do it from memory. Wazy, yeah, Wazy. I always want to say Wazy because he has the most Gundam name of anyone in this franchise.
It's got a very hard j sound in Japanese. Waji. But yeah, let me see some other things I liked. Music, pretty good overall. I'm not a huge Falcom music has always been kind of up and down for me. Like most, not really up and down even, just like up and sideways. Like a lot of it I've always felt is just fine, and pretty much every game has like a small percentage of really, really good tracks.
No, I think I'm with you. There's very few hard clunkers, but there's not a lot that really stands out as, oh, this one I'm going to be putting on a playlist. This one is coming with me on the Walkman.
I'd say like major boss themes usually pull it off. Stuff like that. And, you know, when they're in crisis, just the sort of everyday walking around music is, you know, it's fine. It works. In the game, I'm not shutting it off or anything, and I'm enjoying it.
Yeah, I am the kind of person who will shut off the music on a turn-based game if I find it uninteresting, because then it means I can turn that game into something I do while I edit audio for 7 podcasts. But these games are not one that I make that switch with.
I do like the presentation overall. I can definitely see where they were struggling to make it work with the pre-rendered sprites and the very, very light 3D backgrounds. Like there was I would say an upper level of action that they could really do, which is honestly higher than a lot of games would pull off with the same level of assets, I think.
They are starting to push up against the edge of this engine in a lot of ways. And I think it really shows the pain points in Azure. So I'm not going to speak on that yet, but I think that by the end of this game, there are some really cool moments in the final chapter cutscene-wise, but there are also a couple of times where definitely to save frame rate or to keep things in the cinematic shots they have, a couple of shots reminded me of like Dark Place, Garth Marenghi's Dark Place.
Okay. They did start going a little nuts with the shotgun stuff in the big chase.
That's the exact bit. I always think of Dean Lerner just shooting off screen when we have some of the Dudley and the Chief shots. because we don't show you anyone. It's just, oh no, the hordes, we'll get them to safety.
They're coming! And like 2 dudes wander on screen.
Yeah. The sword people get more moments in that finale with enemies.
Oh, definitely.
I don't know. We stopped at basically the perfect point where, had you continued, we would have had a much more dramatic flame out during the festival, especially trying to 100% it and get all the dialogue.
So it was, the festival was 4 days. I think most days had a second update that was only in Crossbell. They at least in the outer towns, it was mostly just like, you know, occasionally somebody with a face will be doing something different, like one of the bracers or something.
Yeah, they basically add like one guy you needed to find if you had the checklist, but otherwise it's just do a cycle when the day turns to dusk.
I do think the people in the outskirts around Crossbell, the other towns and the military bases and all of that was definitely less, like a lot drier for the most part. There's usually only like 1 or 2 people at each of those that you really want to pay attention to.
Yeah, if you don't have a portrait at those, you're probably fine.
So having those open the whole game and constantly updating really dragged it out a little more than I think was necessary.
But then there were times where during our recordings we'd even find, oh, there's like a whole cutscene just off screen because we found 2 fishermen.
Yeah.
What?
There was at the doll maker studio, I basically every day that the game refreshed, I wasn't looking at a guide or anything, but I would take a moment and just, you know, run through the areas just to see, because we found those fishermen that one time, honestly, but I would run through all of the areas and look for something. And that was one of the things is if you go to the doll maker studio on, I think, the 2nd or 3rd day of the festival, you find Estella and Joshua there just sort of thinking and having a little discussion amongst themselves. And then they're like, oh, hey, special support section. Hi. Let's not talk. Bye.
What did you think of Jorg, by the way?
You got very little of Jorg in this game. Pretty much just one scene where he showed up. He seems strong potential, good vibes on Jorg.
Yes.
His design very much reminded me of the Palms. Sort of the old man look to them.
Yeah, the way they're doing fluffiness on these sprites, their artist definitely has a tick, and especially where the monsters cross over with the people on someone who's just full face beard, it's a little uncanny.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't really have a lot specific, just because it's such a big game. Like even I know you said you took like 20 hours on going on hyper mode, but
yes,
this playthrough, even including like 20 hours cut from our Let's Play, for, you know, just the parts where we stop and talk, which is a hazard of those. But even that, like cutting like 15 hours just from that to the end of chapter 2, I still broke 100. In fact, it happened during the big swirl transition to the final boss. I didn't get a screenshot, unfortunately. It was wonderful.
That's kind of amazing timing. I've got to give you that.
But it's again, there's so much. The fishing was lame. It was I don't like how they did the fishing in this one, especially since you can't easily get baits until you're basically done.
So they do. That's one of the places they really improve in Azure.
That's good.
You will get a kinder fishing bit, and they also come up with some interesting hurdles to make the fishing progression more than just hope you have a checklist.
Uh, th- the hidden stuff was pretty noxious. I like even specifically, like I said, 100 hours checking pretty. I would say much more thoroughly than most players. Like I still ended up missing like 4 chapters of Back Alley Dr. Glenn.
I think Zero is the series' worst on that.
And there was, I'm still not sure what was up with the quest in the intermission, where apparently you then go back to class and there's a whole thing where you teach the children how to be a detective, and it's like another quiz. And I feel like I was extremely thorough going back and forth, but apparently I just totally missed that one.
Yeah, that one is rough, especially because it has so many options, and a couple of them are weasel worded.
Oh, of course. Oh yes, the weasel word questions. That also kind of annoyed me. I think we got one which was like in the wolf chapter. Fuck. In chapter 1, Afternoon of the Wolves, right near the end, there's this quiz where it's like, who did this? What was their goal? And you have to like fill out a chart, pretty much. Like, I still think that was bizarrely worded and kind of bullshit. There was one later where you had to identify a smuggler coming into Crossbell.
God, yes.
And there was one question on there, and normally if I get these questions wrong, I will just live with it, which is how I missed one of the other side quests, which turns out required a higher detective point rating than I had. But there was one question which was just like, was this person working alone or working with accomplices? And they meant, did this person arrive alone?
Yeah.
I selected working with accomplices, and then when I realized it was wrong, I was just like, you know what, I'm just gonna reload this. I'm not losing points to that.
So this does actually remind me, I'm gonna give you one warning since you're not using a checklist.
Okay.
There's a series of quests in Azure that are basically going to be pop quiz. In the first game, did you do X, Y, or Z? With a reporter.
Mm-hmm.
And I think someone mentioned to me, I might be misremembering this because it's been months for me. I think someone mentioned if you whiff on one of those, he does not come back for the successive quests.
Fantastic.
So if you get to a guy who's asking you, hey, so I just want to clear up some things about your investigation, maybe check a guide.
What was that one young man's name? Was it Koki or Jed? Or was it Dino? Or
What is the deadest saber viper's name?
Oh, he's still alive. We found him in hell. He was fine. I guess it did end very abruptly, so we didn't see what happens when he gets back. Leave that for the sequel. Because everyone in that gang was real mad at him.
Yeah. How do you feel about where they abruptly leave some of those storylines and give you nothing going into that final credits?
Knowing that there's a second game and knowing that it was a fairly short wait between them, kind of no matter how you were playing it. Like, even the translations were, like, the fan translations were pretty, like, slower than the official English releases, because that was just basically done, and they just kind of hammered those out. But it's not like the wait between Sky First Chapter and Sky Second Chapter was over 4 years, I think, in English.
Yeah.
So if it had been that, I feel I would have been a lot more miffed. But knowing going in that it's part of 2 very tightly connected games, I don't really mind that much.
All right. So I feel like the big thing that anyone who's listening to this who was following our LP is probably going to want to know.
Okay.
How did you feel about... Let's just hit some of the plot that we didn't do on screen in order.
I don't know how this turned into an interrogation. Go for it.
Well, no, because I'm gonna follow things, but also I'm gonna use your descriptions of some of these arcs to remind me so I don't step on a conversational landmine and drop things that happen in the second game.
Fair enough.
I played them so close to each other that I kind of want to tread lightly with what I'm saying. So yeah, we left off right before the festival, and...
We sure did.
Oh, yeah. I guess my big question is, what was your takeaway on just the whole thing? Because I'm kind of impressed. I don't think I've ever seen an RPG really go in on a festival that hard in a way that actually felt like, no, there's tourists in town. As the cops, we need to do extra legwork. We're keeping things safe. I actually really loved the way everything turned out in terms of really packing the streets and the amount of quests you had there. And then that one of the biggest moments is just a lost child.
I didn't really feel like there was a whole lot of, like, this isn't really a complaint, but I didn't feel like there was a whole lot of progression outside of the quests. Occasionally there'd be like one family sort of off on the side just being like, okay, today we're gonna go watch the parade and stuff like that, but overall it just felt like it definitely felt, again, outside of the quests, like a lot of just, the festival is here, we're all having fun. You're not, but we're having fun.
I did kind of like the way they stressed that, yeah, no, this is great for the city, but it sucks for you, the policeman.
Yeah, a lot of people still have to work during those festivals and things like that. Like, I don't know, I've been working food service for a long time. I don't really get the holidays that a lot of you office worker people get. Like, I can't, like, usually Christmas. I'll get Christmas, and like sometimes Thanksgiving. I did like the final quest a lot. Well, I say the final quest, but it was like day 3, with the missing young Hayworth.
Mm-hmm.
With and you know, I'd basically gone through the whole Let's Play, going like, oh, Harold, you're a naughty boy. I know what you did, Harold. I know what you did. But then I'm not sure what happened, but sometime between then and this replay, I completely switched teams. I was just like, oh, Sophia's the one. She did it. She's secretly responsible, and she's feeling super guilty. And I don't know where that came from either. Neither of those is true, it turns out. So I apologize for all of the slander, Mr. and Mrs. Hayworth.
It is kind of funny to me in a dark sort of way that somehow they made her backstory just a little more of a kick in the pants than it already came off as.
Oh, and also she wasn't abandoned.
Yeah.
Turns out.
Yeah, exactly.
But no, once that quest started, and that is another thing that I played through all of, obviously the versions of the Sky games that we got didn't have voices except in the battles. You can mod those in, but I never have. But I do think the performances really elevated that quest a lot. Just hearing that the parents just absolute total panic at their missing child, and I'm listening to that like, maybe I should reevaluate my biases here. But no, Colin just he didn't get kidnapped. He just kind of left. Basically, he went on. He baby's date out.
Oh, a butterfly.
And just, I don't know. That kid made some miles. He booked it. I don't know how he did it.
Well, at one point, he literally climbed into a truck.
Yes. And then the truck driver lost him.
That's the funny part to me.
Yeah, I've been going through the game. That truck driver is just usually sort of off in the train area, just complaining about all the deliveries that he's gonna have to make today. Basically the whole game, and I'm just like, I relate to you, Bobby. I think it was. But I've never accidentally kidnapped a child in the course of my work, and then lost him.
That's the thing. If I see myself in a character, it is usually an alarming office worker or Randy Orlando. Randy Orlando reminds me too much of my younger self. Yeah, I found the festival to really kind of peak with the Hayworth family quest, but it's very interesting how that arc and her backstory and what it ties into going into the end game sort of redeemed what I felt was one of the largest clunkers in
Sky the Third.
Sky the Third. Like, I was just like, why did we need this? And then it's like, hey, what if we actually make an arc based on dark politics and some Jeff Epstein shit? And like, that's in the text. This is not even you making a stupid joke. This is, no, really, we're going to investigate what happens if someone is doing this for political power and laying traps. And it's like, oh, this is so much better than I expected from where this initial tease was. I never thought I'd praise it.
God, especially just going back to Sky Second Chapter and the introduction of Ren, which is just so far off from any real-world anything.
Yes. Yeah, walking around with the dummy copies of her parents.
And also, here's my robot. Hope you like my robot. It's my real father-mother.
Yeah, not a character I would have expected to carry serious pathos, and it's like, oh, yeah. All right.
Yeah, no, that was all solid. Especially, like I was kind of, honestly, I kind of thought the whole thing would, like, they had shown Ren just sort of in town before, but I thought that whole thing would basically just be started and resolved in like its own chapter. That's what I thought going into the game. I did not expect it to last through literally the final boss, but you know, it definitely worked. It made as you were saying, it made Ren quite a bit more sympathetic, I feel, rather than a Sky Third just being like, oh, now she's not murdering us, and she's kind of wacky. Also, here's her horrible backstory, by the way. Bye.
Yeah, Sky Third is interesting because you have a bunch of different questionable characters lumped into your party with a few of those. And then it's like, okay, you see how this guy fell, you see, and then you just get the Ren door and it's like, whoa,
where'd that come from? I was just learning about the happiness stone. What the fuck?
Yeah. And then I never would have expected that to be a highlight. And yeah, chapter 3, other than being loaded with quests, you have Turbo Granny, you have the Hayworth drama. God, I'm literally sitting here going, what even climaxed that chapter?
That was the auction. Right,
yes, that is the end of the festival.
They had been like as almost as soon as the chapter started, it was like Estelle and Joshua were like, "Hey, we're looking up something called the Schwartz auction. Have you ever heard of it?" And Ellie was just like, "I don't think so."
Yeah.
Oh, before that, I did really enjoy I think it was the climax of the first day where Wazzy and Wald were about to come to blows. Well, they were having a combat sort of attraction by themselves in the middle of the town square. They were just having duels just right in the middle of everything, and everyone was like, "You should probably stop that." And then they resolved it with like a big stupid race. I loved that stupid race.
Actually, yeah, the big stupid race ruled.
That was a blast.
That's probably one of my favorite puzzle mini games in the whole game.
Especially right near the end where Randy's just like, oh, they fucked me, huh? Oh, they're gonna get it. It was beautiful.
Yeah, that's a great sequence, especially if I did that twice just to see that is one of those ones I hit with a failure run for laughs.
I did not. I got all the right choices, I believe.
Nice. Yeah, no, they really rub it in if you whiff one.
Let me see. So that was day 1. What was day 2?
Yeah, day 3 is the Haywards. Let's see here.
Well, I can check my I have a problem, which is that I've started obsessively taking screenshots of games, just sort of like basically like notes, but so my my Trails from Zero folder in my screenshots directory has 3,807 files, so I have a problem.
So here's why you don't remember day 2. Day 1 is a cutscene.
Yes.
Day 2 is
okay, day 2 was the race. Okay, yes. Day 1 was...
Day 3 is the Haywards.
We were taking the day off. Randy's in the casino. Tio's playing video games. I forgot how much I hate Noelle's casual outfit.
Ha!
It's horrible. Anyway,
So how'd you like the tease of Michelin Wonderland?
Oh my god, I thought we were gonna go in for like 1 minute.
It's so irritating because...
When they started chasing us with wolves, I'm like, okay, we're gonna turn left. We're gonna go that way. No, it's just gonna... It's at the pier. I do love Tio in that chapter. You go up and she's just like, it's Mishy. It's the real one.
It's impressive that they just have her vibrating from proximity.
So the auction, there's 3 different variations of that, depending on which character you choose. And I chose a Randy because I thought going into it, it turns out that was wrong, but I thought I would, as long as everybody's hearts ranking were maxed, I would be able to get all of their epilogue scenes. No, you get 1.
Yeah, you have to keep them exactly even. It's cruel.
So, no, but the craft that I got, the combo craft with Tio that I got at the end of the game, pretty worth it. Pretty worthwhile. It was doing like 9,000 damage to the final boss.
Oh yeah, that one hits like a tank.
But no, that was fun. The whole auction, going in there, and being all just a bunch of smooth customers, and like everybody notable recognizes you, except for like the Mafia. Everybody else.
Yeah, Garcia and his crew don't. And it's even funnier because I took Ellie for my full run. I saw everyone's dress up scenes because those were all just funny.
Oh yeah. That's easy to see all of because you can just save right outside. You don't have to go through 2 hours of gameplay to see it all.
And also having Ellie in there made Maria Bell picking up on you go, oh yes, of course she would cover for Ellie.
You know, I honestly, I was kind of expecting her to be meaner to Randy and Lloyd, given her whole history. But I guess the game's got to go on. You meet a fanciful fellow there.
Oh yes,
a fun-loving guy.
I hadn't turned on him at that point.
I thought his antics were pretty funny.
His antics were pretty funny in Zero.
Fair enough.
You haven't hit why I'm so mad at him. Like, that dude can burn.
Fair enough. But now he's just like, woo, we're on a boat together. I'm here to kill you, by the way. Psych.
Yeah. If you don't know, we're talking about Lecter Arundel.
Lecter Arundel, who is very pink in this game.
Yeah, holy crap, they give him the ultimate tourist shirts.
And so he's just kind of bouncing around the whole game, and the whole team is just like, that guy, I don't know about that guy. He seems pretty important, but nothing really comes of it, at least yet.
He's an interesting contrast to the character who was in this role in Sky, which is the traveling bard, Olivert. But yeah, there's a... I don't even want to say it's more sleaze. It's just a certain bard does not seem like someone who is going to leave a body count the way that Lecter does.
Lecter does seem like a high body count would be one of his fun pranks.
Haha, did you know that I actually work for the Chancellor and I'm here to spy on all of you and maybe stir some shit up in your country for our own goals? Oh, you know me, I'm just lying. I'm a fun drunk.
Ouroboros is probably eyeing him. It's been like, we could probably make something of this guy. After we failed with, oh god, what was his name in Sky? The one that ended up becoming, like, repeated comic relief.
Oh god, my brain says Craig, but I know that's wrong.
It's definitely not Craig. Yeah, I don't really have a whole lot to say about the whole auction sequence. It was just it was fun. I love a good little infiltration scene. A little sad that they just threw off the costumes immediately, so they didn't have to make new battle sprites.
That did suck because I liked those outfits.
Those were pretty good outfits. Well, Wazzy's was pretty bad, but all of his outfits are terrible.
Wazzy is, yeah.
I don't understand why his formal outfit also was a crop top. I mean, I guess I understand that that's just how he rolls.
Because he's hooking, friend. He's hooking.
No, he's a host. That's completely different.
Okay, he's giving off the impression of hooking.
He's showing ladies a fine night. And then they find a girl in a suitcase.
And we did eventually figure out how it was that got spoiled for us, which was...
Oh, yes.
Yeah, it was
It was Falcom. They did it.
Yeah, Falcom literally put that screenshot out as part of a promotional bit for that port.
I was like, oh, this game has a suitcase girl. Because, I've seen that before.
Yeah.
It's in things like, was there one in Cowboy Bebop?
It might have been the dog. I think Ein was a suitcase.
Maybe. There was definitely an anime one that I remember, and like Firefly, the TV show, did it. It's a known thing. It's a trope.
I think of the much more chilling one from the Americans every time.
Okay.
It's not a happy end for the suitcase person in that one.
It usually probably isn't. But no, this was just like a really friendly girl just inside there being like, hey, what's up? Oh, you wanna get chased and have battles? Cool.
I like your coat, doggy.
Just running around, talking to the random NPCs. She's just like, hi, I'm Kia.
Yeah, probably.
It's very good. Kia, I ended up rather enjoying. Again, because she's chipper, but like in an understated way. Like that sort of thing can really, it can really drag.
She's chipper, and they quickly fast forward over any weird fish out of water. I don't know what a toaster is kind of jokes. What? Yeah, of course I know how to cook spaghetti carbonara. I don't know.
Oh, what did I have her cook? Hold on, sorry, I'm pulling up my screenshot again. Spaghetti alla vongole. I don't even know how to say that. I was just like, Sure, I'll have the 9-year-old with no memories make that, and then she killed it.
What are your theories on Kia right now?
Oh God, I don't know. She's got the power. She's got the ancient powers deep inside of her.
Mm-hmm.
If she gets really upset, she will explode.
Kyo Tokyo?
Maybe she won't explode that much because we'll fix it before then. But yeah, I couldn't even say at this point. It's just we found the machine where they found her. She was just in there for 500 years apparently. And then she just left, and even Lloyd was like, she didn't just leave and wander into a suitcase. Come on. But they have yet to explain any of that. I don't know. It's just, doesn't seem like she was mistreated before. It doesn't seem like a Tio Ren situation.
Yeah. How much have they said about the Tio stuff where you're at?
It seems like pretty much all of it. She was in one of the lodges, and they did the child experiments where all the children died, which is another common trope.
So you do know who rescued her anyway?
Yes, that was rescued by Guy. That was one of the first things that it told us. And
okay.
And she wanted to go back and ask him how do humans live life, but he had died by that point. By the time she was able to do that.
Got it. I thought that sequence was in Azure, which is why I had to double check. Cool.
Yeah, no, that was in. There was a part in Chapter 3 where you had to go in and into the Geofront and hack the system.
Right, yes, that was when you two went off on the solo mission.
Yeah, and you had to hunt down Kitty, who it was pretty obvious was Ren.
Yeah. That hacking battle
was awesome. I hope they go back to that in Cold Steel 3 or 4.
It's one of the funniest cutscenes, I think, in the entire game, and I don't know how intentional it was.
I'm probably 50-50. It was exciting, but it was also deliberately silly.
It does have real two people typing on the same keyboard NCIS energy. So then we get the intermission.
We get the intermission where it's just you run around with Kia and introduce her to everybody because I guess the mob, we've made a deal with the mob where they're not going to chase us anymore. So you pick a character and you run around.
I do like the touch of, because of the previous incidents in Crossbell with the cult, nobody wants to be seen trafficking humans so blatantly. That's the line you don't cross in Crossbell.
Yeah, nobody. Which makes it even stranger that she was there in the first place, because it doesn't seem like any of the characters that we know did that.
Yeah.
Just somebody wanted basically put the girl in the suitcase. It was supposed to be a doll in there, and then they were supposed to go to the stage and open it up, and then it's like, oh, we're trafficking children. Check that out, the entirety of Crossbell High Society. Boom. But that's not how it happened.
I so look forward to just hearing your responses to when they give revelations about some of this.
But no, you pick a character and you run around town and just say hi to everybody. And Kia's just super friendly with all of them. She's making friends with all the kids, even the weird kid in the library.
The intermission is cute. I like just having, okay, you have a new not quite party member. How much running around town do you want to do just seeing little day-to-day?
And there was a lot of day-to-day to wander around and see. And like the novelty of introducing the new character to all of this weird stuff did help a little bit with the, it does get a little monotonous sometimes, a little bit. Yeah, I don't know. It was just a nice little thing. Then you take her to the hospital to meet Dr. Joachim Gunter, who's just a completely normal doctor, of course. I had that guy pegged from the instant I saw that his portrait. I was like, there's way too much empty space in that guy's face. He's gonna have a manic grin later.
I love that is an actual thing you said and called correctly.
100%.
Just because of the grin.
That is a thing that I sort of try to keep an eye out for, is just character designs that look like a little bit off, but deliberately so. Because I like trying to figure out what the piece is that is missing. And, you know, so if eventually their full character design is revealed and it's like, oh, yep, that was it. That was the problem. Ace Attorney does that really well.
That makes sense why that would have primed you to look for that. I've seen some of those faces. And then we get the drug PSA chapter.
Don't do drugs, kids. No drugs.
Especially not supernatural drugs.
Hey, that guy selling you enhancement pills? Do you want to turn on your family and go to hell? Guess what? Try these blue pills.
When you take Gnosis, you go to hell before you die.
It was very that was also fun, just trying to figure out who in town was on the juice.
Yes.
Because there are more candidates for that than you would think. Like, I was wondering for a bit if Bennett, the bread girl, who was very, very competitive with her coworker Oscar, I was wondering if she maybe had been pushed to get a little bit of the Gnosis juice to give her the edge that she really needs. But
it is really funny to think
she's just like that.
Yeah. What are the people who... How did they write this scene? Is there a version where they're like, okay, what NPCs do we have in town who we want to sink low? And one of them I understand because it plays into the sequel some. So I know why they choose one. But when you're picking the others, it's very interesting to think about how they went about that. Because it could have been, yeah, Bread Girl, or maybe... Well, if she weren't optional, I'd say Sully. We haven't even mentioned Sully.
The Sully thing is weird.
So it turns out the dancers accidentally adopted a sneak thief.
Yeah, that's a weird quest. I think that was also in the middle of the anniversary festival.
It is in the festival. It is optional, and I know that because my save import bunged up on going into Azure, and so they repeat the joke when you meet her for the first time in Azure.
Risha Mao, who we haven't even talked about, finds out that her co-star Ilya is being stalked for some reason. And Ilya's just like, I don't fucking care. But you do eventually go in and find out that it's just a thief who's trying to steal stuff, but she's having trouble because Ilya lives like an absolute slob, which is relatable. Oh god, I don't even remember what her motives were.
It was just, I have come from out of town during the festival. I admire this person.
She came from ultra poors.
Yeah.
And she sees an ultra rich, and she's like, I will ruin this for you somehow. But she doesn't really have a good plan.
But is good enough to get into the building and figure some things out. And so you have to set an extended trap, and this ends with Lloyd accidentally groping this person who is trying to pass as a young male street urchin.
Yeah, this young boy. He's just apparently just real grabby.
Yep. Anyway, yeah, I get how that joke happens in Zero, because it's you pick up the agile person and restraining them, oh, I feel these. It's much dumber in Azure, and it basically makes Lloyd out to be an idiot.
I guess we'll see if my save transfer works, or if that was just like a one-off bug.
Yeah, I think I just had a weird bug because I was also trying to get New Game Plus stuff involved.
But yeah, no, Sully has a hat. That's her defining character trait.
Yeah, you'll see more of Sully. They do shoehorn Sully in as a required character in Azure.
Oh, I have this whole list of characters. I didn't even... Which we will cover. I forgot about Geen, who joins the party. I had all the other playable characters.
See, the problem is we mostly did all of the Yin stuff other than one bit near the end in the LP.
Mm-hmm.
So we kind of don't have a lot to discuss there.
They kind of dropped it.
Yep.
Just we'll deal with that later. You'd think that she would have been unmasked or something during this game, but nah.
Yeah, that was one of the ones that really surprised me. Was I know we both knew about it because we'd done Cold Steel 2, but
yeah, it's also pretty obvious. Like, let's be fair.
Oh yeah, it's incredibly clear from the voice actor or just putting 2 and 2 together. But yeah, no. Very funny to me that was one of the things they left lingering.
So, chapter 4 was... Let me think. So, it didn't really... The situation didn't really go off until the finale. Chapter 4, there was a... No, the Ruins trip was in the previous chat. No, there was another Ruins trip. That's right.
Yeah, Moon Temple.
That's right. The bells were ringing, ominously. And you go there, and it's just all skulls.
Yeah, the Moon Temple is truly jacked up. Like, real, oh, this is a portal to hell. There's a Hellmouth.
Yeah, there's, when the higher elements are active, I have definitely noticed that there are 2 themes, which seems pretty consistent throughout all the games, now. One of the themes is just all skulls all the time. Death, death, death. Die the death, etc. The other theme is just the biggest fucking spiders you've ever seen. Holy shit. And that's just kind of it. It's just like normal, but there's also just really fucking big spiders.
And in the 3D ones, they give the place weird sparklies.
Yes. I think Cold Steel 1, the first time you hit the higher elements, is the cave in Nord with all the spiders. So
I think it is, yeah.
So that's just it. That's what they do.
Yeah, I don't know. Spiders are clearly some form of demon on this continent.
If you're bad with spiders, maybe not the series for you. If you have a friend who's bad with spiders, maybe you just sort of nudge them away.
I'm sure someone's made a mod that turns the spiders into genies. It's an easy mob swap.
Mm-hmm. Just Genie from Kingdom Hearts skittering along the walls.
Okay, but I can imagine any Robin Williams voiced character doing that. Yeah, Chapter 4 is interesting because it's creeping dread. Something's visibly wrong. You can't get answers, and part of that is that one of the biggest people you turn to for help in the investigation is the culprit, so you're not going to get anything until he lights the fuse on the plan.
You do get a car, though. You get a car for one day.
I hope you like that car.
Unfortunately, that car was not very useful to me because, as I mentioned, for each new day I would just run through the whole environment anyway. So I didn't even use it until like I was almost done.
What if I told you you're going to have a car soon?
That seems like a good plan.
You will definitely get some use out of that car, especially because they give it upgrades you can go out of your way to buy. Oh,
do you get decals?
You do get decals.
Ooh. Just thinking of the Cold Steel motorcycle.
See, that's the thing. There's a lot of stuff in Cold Steel 2 that I was like, oh, this is neat. This is really cool. And then I played Azure and was like, oh, that was just them porting a lot of Azure stuff into 3D. I look forward to you seeing how that goes.
I mean, I already know that they have master quartzes.
They do have master quartz. Yeah, a lot of stuff really... It's kind of wild that Cold Steel won, and I guess it's because technically it's back in time a little. But yeah, they sort of skipped a game with a lot of weird features. It's funny that way.
I mean, the effort to make Cold Steel 1 was pretty enormous. Just because they had to do basically everything from scratch.
Oh yeah, fresh engine, they switched platforms, etc. I get it.
You can't make 2,000 sprites anymore. I say 2,000, but that's probably a way low number. Maybe like 15,000. There was the sprites in the sprite work in these games. They really did go for it. Like there's a lot of actions from a lot of angles. And then there's some scenes where it's just like suddenly the camera just completely locks down for 10 seconds for some reason.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think a huge thing that really cut back on the effort there is developing the fixed camera in Crossbell as opposed to the full 360 in Sky.
Yeah. Which, I'd say generally an improvement, especially in the dungeons.
Yes, no, incredibly an improvement. Makes keeping your bearings a lot easier.
I did not get lost much in Sky, but that's because I learned my lesson from Xenogears. So I learned tricks and tactics to keep an eye on where I was.
I think my personal all-time worst 360-degree camera RPG is Dragon Quest VII PS1 version.
Okay.
And that's because that game is very clearly unfinished in some regards, up to and including that whole 4-hour prologue.
Oh, I love 4-hour prologues.
What if I told you it took you probably 90 plus minutes to meet a slime in a Dragon Quest game? Anyhow, we're in chapter 4 Trails from Zero.
Are we? Are we, though?
We are, yeah. No, this one is, like I said, it's a lot of creeping dread, and they're kinda hitting you on the mystery, because, yeah, you're being stymied. Anything really stand out other than we've discussed the Gnosis and, like, some of the turns?
I thought the dungeon at the end was kind of lame. The, going through the Mafia building. Because they had the monster wing and the, robot wing, and never the two shall meet. And it's just like basically just two small kind of lame dungeons, and every now and then you'd walk outside to find a treasure chest so all of the enemies would respawn.
Oh god, yes. I thought the vibes on it were really good for the first half, but then you get into the second half, whichever order you do it in, and you realize, oh, I only did half. Okay.
To be fair, I did at least take one step into both of them before I started pushing. So I could tell immediately that they were going to be similar lengths. But yeah, it was just kind of whatever. Then you fought a robot at the end, and like even the characters are, even the evil characters are like, what was he doing with that robot?
And I think that was the robot that you fight in Cold Steel 2 that wiped us a couple times?
Probably.
From memory.
It's hard to keep all of those straight because they all kind of look the same.
I think the Regenenkopf is the one that does have the hi, I'm mimicking Arios bit.
Gotcha. Yeah, I don't know. Cold Steel loves the... Oh no, the Class 7 is here. Summon the robots. So it all blurs together at this point.
I mostly remember that one because it wiped us a bunch.
Was that in the Rhineford office? Was that the one you're thinking of? Yeah, I do remember that fight being a bear.
Yeah, I would probably remember the detail less had we not died to it 3 or 4 times.
Okay. So anyway, you fight through all of it to get the giant novelty keys to unlock the basement where there's the said robot and all of the clues. So you wander and I'm extremely disappointed because he hid vital information inside his treasure chest in his office. And then you can go back later, and they did not put a chest message on there.
Huh.
Very disappointed.
I didn't even consider that. That's interesting. But I guess it makes sense if you realize the chest messages exist solely because of the weird way chests were coded.
Well,
and that's a plot trigger instead.
Not in this game. In this game, they manually coded it back in.
Well,
so that they could include mostly pretty lame jokes, to be fair.
I think most of the ones in the final dungeon got me. But yes, most of these Zero ones are particularly bad. Anyhow, going into the final chapter. Great build-up, great vibes. And when they dropped that title on you, that was the point where I was like, okay, setting this down and I'm binging through everything.
That's not a great idea, ultimately, with this series.
I mean, the funny thing is, I think I finished it directly before we did one of the recordings.
Yeah, it's not... you could do worse for binging the final chapter. There's worse ones to do.
Yeah, you're about to play one.
Azure, probably. I'd say Cold Steel 1. That's still one of the best viewed videos that we've ever posted. Just the 3-hour nightmare finale.
Yeah, we're degenerating into gibbering primates by the end of it. I think... Okay, I don't know if people know... It probably shows sometimes. We record these late at night. I think that one ended at like 2 a.m. for me, and I'm the West Coast one.
Yeah, you can pretty well tell exactly when we record because of the save screen.
Oh yeah, right. Yeah, it is the very end of day 3, and it's when you get to the office with the safe. It says, do not touch.
When it starts going, same day, and giving you a time, that's when you know things are getting serious in this series.
Oh, yeah. And then, final chapter, Crossbell's longest day.
Which, it was a pretty long day.
Yeah.
And so... That's right. You set things up, and then it's like, well, the doctor's going to call us at noon, so let's take care of what we need to do.
Yeah, you can't leave the city.
So you do the cooking quest. You finish the cooking quest because it was obvious that you were supposed to wait because it didn't close out. It even specifically said at the point of no return, all of your quests which have a time of short or less. A time of short will end, and that one was at medium. So it's pretty obvious you're still gonna get a recipe or two.
Also, did you get the absolutely busted 24th Supreme Dish reward?
Yes, so I got the... Yes, I don't remember what it was.
The solar gem, which just absorbs earth, water, fire, and wind on whoever has it.
Oh, I might not have actually equipped that one.
I definitely found a place for it just because making someone immune to most elements was pretty solid.
Yeah. My main issue is I try to obsessively impede any arts the enemies do. Like, they obviously still get some through, and those ones it's probably a good idea to absorb them. But I don't remember I had my quartz setup pretty nailed down by this point, so I didn't want to rock the boat too much.
I locked in harder in Azure. In Zero, I kept going up until the end game and really changing things up.
Because I had there's the highest level wind spell, Thunder Cyclone, I think. So I had that on Ellie, and I had the evil sword coming from the sky, the giant sword that we love so much.
Yeah,
whatever that one was called. I had that on Tio, and that got me through most battles. And I didn't really want to mess with anything because you need pretty insane elements to get both of those.
I had the boys basically bum rush things and act as impedance, and then I would just set Tio as a ticking countdown bomb, and usually by the time she cast, if it got to her, that ended a fight.
Fair enough. Yeah, Lloyd, basically, if it looked like it was the fight was going to go on any length of time, I would hit his Burning Heart, which gives him... It's basically the same as Reen's super mode, except it doesn't change his color scheme. But it's art, double arts, double defense, double speed, and he was pretty much my main damage dealer for the most part. If I needed spells, that usually did top it, but he was so fast at that point. You just run up. Hit everything constantly. You didn't even need to use most of his crafts.
It's real hard not to make a Lloyd who is topping the speed stat.
And, if the damage isn't doing it for you, he's got both his S-Break and all of his combo crafts are just disgusting.
So, I didn't actually use combo crafts all game because I was trying to keep that damn meter even.
Oh, yeah.
Until this chunk.
Yeah, I didn't bother. I had Randy and Tio maxed on the graphic in the achievements screen, and Ellie was just at like 80% for some reason.
I really kicked myself when I found out that the value is tracked pretty easily in the save, and in Azure I just edited them all to the same number rather than monkey around with that as a whole game long thing.
That works. I can see it.
Especially given that there are more people.
Yeah, in this one I think it just picks randomly which one you get. If the numbers are the same, I think that's how that works. I didn't look at it too much, but I got Tio, which was later, but
I got Randy.
We're all over the place.
Yeah, in Azure it will just go, this person would like to talk to you. You can choose to spend your time talking to them if they qualify. And then you just save and go, okay, well, I'm just going to do these sequentially, of course.
Yes. Come, Noelle. Come over, my assassin friend Risha.
I don't know if I feel like dancing no more. Aren't you from the East? I don't know why I have this accent. I don't think this is a good voice actor doing this impression.
Honestly, she's from the deep south of the East. Let's say.
Southern Calvard.
Yes, exactly. So anyway, I was basically just vibrating with excitement waiting for this finale to start.
Yeah, they kind of give you a long lead-in.
There's there's the handful of people acting crazy in town, and I'm like, okay, this is pretty good. And then the thing that really set me off is an optional conversation with a good old Wazzy Hemisphere, who you talk to him and he's just like, wow, some people are acting kind of crazy. Maybe they're just excited for tomorrow's full moon. I'm like, oh, fuck yes. Yes. Yes, I am also excited for tomorrow's full moon now.
Yes.
You just said the magic words.
Nothing bad ever happens on a full moon. And then comes a bunch of disappearances suddenly.
Yeah, and then they just leave.
Yep.
If you go to one of the gates, I don't remember exactly when, but it's the last time that you're able to go there. Mariel, one of the higher ranking blonde lady at I think it was Belgard Gate, the one that Noelle does not work at, the other side. But you go there and she mentions, oh, we got some new supplements from the hospital we're gonna try tonight on our field exercise. I'm just like, oh god.
Yup.
Oh god, because I'd figured out pretty early that Ernest was on some stuff. It's not super. They didn't hide that very hard.
No, we were calling pretty early. Hey, Ernest is definitely going to get sinister.
Yeah, well, I just mean specifically in this. He acted pretty normal up until his big scene, like not like a good person, but like normal-ish.
Yeah.
And then at the end, he's just like writhing in the streets, screaming, "I'm gonna be mayor!" So it's just like, okay, he's juiced up right now. He's on the drugs.
There's this thing I love about Ernest in that he is a truly pathetic kind of recurring antagonist. He can't even see himself going higher than mayor. It's like,
well, that's the highest office in Crossbell. So far. I do distinctly recall the phrase President Croy coming up in Cold Steel 2.
Yeah.
Or was it Cold Steel 1?
It's 2.
No, it was right before. Yeah, it was the oh god, what did they call it? Not the intermission, the
Divertissement.
The stupid one. The one with the stupid name.
Yes. Yeah, no, I think both of us immediately picked up on that, and then we met the guy later. So yeah, have fun seeing how that happens.
He seems very... I can't wait to fight his robots.
Oh man, speaking of dudes who suck.
But he did save the day this time, so, you know.
Yeah.
Props to him. Probably mostly to Mariabelle, who was also there. But no, I was so excited for this because, again, they did the work building it up, and if you are going through and checking everything, it's pretty obvious things are gonna blow up like holy crap. Because they really sprinkled little bits of the finale in over the whole game.
Yeah, it's impressive that I don't believe anyone who says that they absolutely predicted all of this early, but can get a lot of the pieces pretty far ahead of time if you know what you're looking for, or if you twig to some weird details.
I love twigging to weird details. It's my favorite part of storytelling.
Well, you play every bloody Ace Attorney. Of course you love twigging to weird details.
Yes.
Anyway, so we first start going, why is nobody picking up the phone at the hospital?
Yes, we're waiting for his call at noon. It's 5. He's not calling. Call the hospital, no answer whatsoever, which is pretty bad at a hospital.
Oh yeah.
It's not what you want. You generally have like one person on the phone.
Even if they just put you on hold.
Hello. Welcome. Thank you for calling St. Ursula Medical College. We're still alive. Please hold.
And so we have to walk down there because the buses are also not running.
In fact, not only are the buses not running, we find one and it's just empty. It's just completely empty, filled with gifts, which is just never good.
Yeah, there's a fascinating lead up to how long before things pop off and how creepy they make this. I love this sequence.
And as soon as you get to the hospital, it's night. And also there's dogs.
Dogs and men with guns, and immediately everyone is like, these guys take a lot more hits than they should.
Oh shit! Shit's gone bad here at the hospital. It turns out, it's gone so bad. We need some assistance with our good buddy Yin and his assassin skills. What a dependable young man.
And it is really cool getting to fight with Yin in this because, yeah, it turns out someone who stood against you single-handedly as a boss is a really cool guest character.
Honestly, I think for once, I think the stats are pretty similar to when you fought the boss.
Yeah.
It's just so many chapters later. And also less health, probably.
Yeah, less health, but also, turns out an assassin can kick all sorts of ass.
All of her skills, she has a 100% KO move, which of course is blocked by almost everything.
Yeah, you're in the final chapter. We can't give you one that easy. But
this hospital section, I think, is probably the best payoff for if you've been keeping up with the NPCs of the game, because you can recognize pretty much all of them.
Yeah.
And how they react to you appearing, and you and your team, and the nurses are like, "Oh, Randy, thank goodness." And you like, it's obvious that something's gone wrong because there's a missing child. There's a child that's supposed to be in this room. He's not here. What's going on? Where's Cecile? I don't know. I really liked this whole section. This was probably my favorite stretch of the end game.
No, I'm with you.
It's spooky. It's got a lot of I don't want to say a lot of character because, there are a lot of characters, but it's got a lot going on. It all flows through pretty well. Got kind of tired of the dogs.
Yeah, there isn't a lot of enemy variety here, which is the biggest problem.
But there's also a story scene after every battle, pretty much.
Yeah. The medical college is spooky. You haven't gotten answers yet. You're still going, why is an entire mafia here drugged to the gills? Why would they take the hospital? How did this go down? And we still have random missing characters in the middle of this crisis. So there's a lot of mysteries, and then you reach the top floor.
Well, you go up and down the residence hall first to get the key to the main building, and which you could get across from the roof, except there's rubble now, obviously. Anyway, up on the roof is another scene I liked where the missing child that I mentioned is there, and Cecile's there, and she's just like, okay, so there's giant monsters here now. Michael, we're gonna run for the door. You're gonna make it. Let's go. Just in time, of course, for Lloyd to save the day.
What do you think of Cecile as a character based on how we met her?
Oh, God. Inappropriate one.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's pretty bad, the whole game. And, like, she's basically shipping you with, like, anybody that breathes.
Yes, if you walk up with another person that she's heard you say the name of in eyesight.
The worst was the chapter where you have Noelle with you, and you go up, and she's like, why don't you two have nephews and nieces for me? It's just like, Jesus Christ.
She asked if Randy and I had adopted a baby when we came up with Kia in the intermission.
Oh god! Oh yeah. I had Tio for that part. I don't remember exactly what she said, but it was gross. So I don't like that. It can be funny like once or twice, but the series does love to run some jokes into the ground.
Anyhow, yeah.
So you go into the research facility, and I was right. They do have a monster lab.
I mean, you can't have a research facility at a medical building without a monster lab. How else will you learn about monsters?
I just want to say, I called it.
You did.
Called it. Moment one, I saw research lab. It's locked. There's monsters in there. We didn't fight the monsters that were in there. There were monsters, but they were unrelated. I still called it.
And then you get a heel turn, but not the one you expect.
I'm not surprised that Ernest came back. Specifically that part. I didn't like guess it specifically, but he showed up and I was just like, okay, yeah, sure. It's been a while. Hi. I like your contacts. They're cool. Fight a boss. Battle. I'm kind of surprised that Ernest was probably the hardest main boss in the game.
Really? This one or the later one?
This one specifically.
Really? Okay, I don't remember having a problem with this fight. It was
It wasn't really a problem exactly. He hit really hard, and it took a while to whittle him down.
See, I started skipping more fights in the next final dungeon because I did get to a little bit of I just want to go to bed point. And that one I think I might have been a little underleveled for.
I was definitely way overleveled the whole time. Did not get the under level 40 achievement.
God, that is such a... Yeah, that ain't happening. I ain't doing that.
So you fight him. He has an S-craft, which was pretty funny. I did not expect his portrait to pop up full screen in the middle of battle.
He's basically doing a Dio from part 1 here.
Not only does he have an S-craft, it's the same one he has later, which I was very tickled by, because there's some differences later.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we're all over the place anyway. I did not see the thing that I did not see coming was Demon Ernest.
God,
who's just
God,
he's so happy with his new fursuit, and it's just it's quite hideous, really.
All I'm gonna say is there is a punchline coming for you.
Okay. Also very convenient that when they transform under the influence of the higher elements, they transform back with their clothes on.
You know, it is kind of funny that Incredible Hulk rules play into the supernatural elements of Crossbell.
So let's see. There's that fight, and then the doctor left a couple of incriminating notebooks behind, just for us. Here's your evidence.
Yeah, it's a taunt.
I did not expect to get like a new actual portrait of Ren in the middle of those files. I thought that was a pretty good touch, because she didn't really like she was frazzled and didn't have her incredible stylings, but it was still immediately recognizable.
Yeah, the doc was the doc is amazing in how much of a piece of shit he is.
Oh yeah, he doesn't care what you think of him. There's also at the end of that scene, Ren shows up, And I like to think that she was just hiding in the room the whole time, because there's no way she could have arrived on her giant loud-ass flying robot and nobody would have noticed. So she was just in the room the whole time while we were fighting Ernest.
Definitely. Or it's really funny to imagine that she's flying in and she sees the lights on in one window in the hospital and it's just like tiptoe mode. So yeah, at this point, you get your final bonding events are right after this.
I got Tio. She wanted to go to Michelin Wonderland when this was all done. So it was like a double promise where that we will also all survive through this. Then he was like, well, we should take everybody. And she just like kicks him.
Yep. He basically twists the knife on Ellie again on dating in the same way. And Randy's just like, yeah, this kind of takes me back.
Yeah, I mean to go... There's videos of them. I'm going to watch them. But again, I beat the game yesterday, so I have not yet.
And then Crossbell is under siege.
Yep, again.
Hey, where were all those other people? Oh shit, here they are.
Right. So it happened in the bank because while the team was returning, they suddenly got ambushed again, and then Dear Croy fucking initial D's into the scene.
And that's when you find out his limo is bulletproof.
It's pretty bulletproof, not wholly bulletproof. It's bullet defensive.
Yeah, fair.
More bulletproof than my car. So that was pretty sick. And then they all climb into the van, and it's just fucking colossal. The limo. It has room for... Wait. Oh no, Shizuku was there, so you had already returned to town. There's a whole setup for all of this. But basically, you return, and then everybody's like, "All right, we're gonna get ready to bring the fight to them," and then they bring the fight to you, and it's the Resident Evil Village opening, basically. Everyone runs off, and there's the whole chase through Crossbell. Which was pretty sick.
Yeah.
A couple of the camera work in that, like I enjoyed the scenes where they're just like running through in a big line. I thought those were pretty, like, really well shot. And then they just do a really big circle, carrying Shizuku and Kia because they were there. And so you do all of that and do a big circle and then leave, and then Dieter Croy shows up with his sick ass limo, and then you go to the bank.
And this is your last stop before final dungeon. There are shops here. There is a place to heal. You will talk with people, and then comes the gauntlet.
The final shopping bit was funny because they actually set up earlier for the orb shop guy to be there because he had a meeting. And he was saying, like, he was mentioning that he needed to get into the building even though the doors were locked. Then he was there for his meeting, and also he can tinker with your orbments.
It's convenient. You might want a little tinkering at the end.
You might. I had all my slots way done. So
yeah,
it was basically just addition only at that point. Like if this has 5 time and this other one has, like, I don't know, 5 time and 3 earth swap, but otherwise, nah.
So how did you do on this fight out here?
Oh, I didn't even know I was supposed to lose any of them. I didn't even
Okay,
realize.
yeah,
I didn't realize that until I looked at the quest after.
Yep. Yeah, you can tap out on that one as soon as round 3 of 6.
No, I didn't. I did fine. It's still pretty easy.
Same, yeah. The only real threat was round 5 with Muriel in it.
Yeah, I kind of just one turn bombed that one.
Oh yeah, when you see someone with a name show up, it's like, oh no.
All right, battle scope, good, bye. And then after that, Randy gets mad and he gets all his craft points back. So it's just like, well, I know what I'm supposed to do now.
Yeah, if you clear that one, the 6 is a gimme.
It's pretty obvious they want me to Death Scorpion this one. And so you fight that, and then they're just like on the ground. I'm like, wait, what?
No, it's cool. This was non-fatal Death Scorpion. Sleep Scorpion.
I mean, our team was on the ground. Special support section.
Oh god, yeah, that's right. They do that at the end.
I was just like, wait, what? Go inside. What are you doing?
See, I forgot that bit because I remembered Arios.
And then Arios shows up. He's not here to make a grand introduction, is what he says afterwards. After he does the sickest gale in the entire series across a huge line of enemies all the way up the slope.
Yeah, he goes up the ramp through bodies. It's amazing.
That does make me kind of wish that they had a little bit of an elevation system in the battles for the Cold Steel games. They do not. And it's fine. But damn, that was so sick. I was laughing for like a minute afterwards.
Yeah, you definitely see why they made that craft so busted and have been trying to rein it in ever since.
This time it's going to be 80 points. That'll stop them, right? No.
I still can't believe they've just pushed it as high as 80 instead of just lowering the damage a little.
Never. Also, if you kill enemies with it, if you've got the force master quartz, you get most of it back. So it's pretty ridiculous.
We made the 8 leaves too good, man.
And then Sergey and Dudley show up and gun down the rest of them non-lethally.
And this is where you put together where everything is, and you
don't put it together. Estelle and Joshua put it together off screen while you were busy.
Well, yeah, that's true. Nobody was coming for their heads because they had the divine child.
Big surprise, it was in the everything's in the ruins we didn't fully explore. The only one left.
And also they grabbed Kea at this point, right?
No, he showed up to grab Kea, but we fought him back. And she was safe the rest of the game. It was very close. The Kea was just like, okay, well, I'll go with you to save everybody. And everybody was like, the fuck you will.
Yes, yeah, that was what I was thinking. And my brain was like, yeah, she walks out with him. And that's how we find out the fort. And it's like, nope.
That's what I expected to happen, to be fair. It did not.
Yeah. Then we do your favorite bit from Cold Steel where we're redoing the whole opening scene, except there's 2 new people.
Oh my god. They did it again. They did it twice. At least twice. Like, what? Why did they do that?
Just wait, we're going to find out that Estelle and Joshua are there in Cold Steel 3 when we show up at the fort.
I don't think they're in 3, but I do know they're in 4.
No, I was just thinking of who would be the funniest 2 people.
It's just like Tita or something is who it's going to be.
God.
Anyway, yes, Estelle and Joshua are there for some fucking reason. Guest characters are fun and all. It's the final dungeon. Stop this right now. So I kept them on through like the first boss. Then I just relegated them to the back row forever.
I swapped in Joshua for Ellie in this final dungeon.
Again, I had my quartz so locked down, I didn't want to deal with 2 more.
I wanted a higher damage output.
Also, I had a ton of the the crafting equipment. Everybody got the new shoes, and I think Tio and Ellie, I got the ultimate coats.
That's fair. I didn't have enough to make all of the ultimate armor, so that made it a lot easier.
I needed 40 to make all the boots, and I had 40. So it was perfect.
Yeah, I got the boots. I didn't have the coats. I didn't have haute couture for everyone.
Well, that I don't think it's possible to have all their haute couture. Haute couture.
I like how you're doing this like the Pink Panther.
Dude, I don't know how you say it. But no, I only had 2 because I think you can only make 2 in a single run because you need tea material.
Right. You only get the one from the quest.
You get the one from the treasure chest, which you use in the quest, and then you get one more from the robot boss. You use that to change into the material that you need to make the coats, and you also have one more of the material that you use to make the coats for some reason. So I didn't love the final dungeon. It's better than the one in Sky 1. I'll give it that much. But mostly because it's smaller. And each section is visually distinct, so you know at least that you're making progress, and you haven't like made a wrong turn somewhere, and all the enemies aren't just god awful tanks.
Yeah, I think it's one of the lesser ones we've seen, but also it's not terrible. It's just underwhelming. It's papered over a little for me because you have the DG cult logs that you're finding along the way, and it's like, okay, we're not giving you everything because of course it's the first game of 2, but there's some fun stuff there. There's interesting teases. You could put together a lot of it if you think about some words that would go in those spaces.
Yeah, the heavily redacted logs were fun.
Mm-hmm.
There wasn't really a lot in the way of like puzzles. It was mostly just like make sure there was one incident with a turning platform. Like the platform could go 3 ways, and it was pretty obvious. Once you get to the lever that moves it, you need to move it to the 3rd position and then double back.
Yeah, that's really it. This is pretty straightforward.
The enemies are very very hell-like. Some spiders, fewer spiders than a lot of the higher element dungeons, but they were definitely in there.
This is a lot like the Moon Temple. There's a lot of demons.
Yeah. A lot of fish. It got weirdly fish heavy for a while.
Well, it did also have the acid or lava or whatever rivers, so that, that makes sense.
The monster chests in that area were interesting because the things I don't even know how to describe them. It's like a little humanoid-ish shape coming out of like a giant almost flower of flesh. If you remember the one that I'm thinking of.
I do, yeah.
Yeah, it's the ones that you save Cecile from. But in the monster chests, there's a giant version of them. And they have a big craft that I've never seen anywhere else in any of the games. It pinged, I'm gonna use a craft, and then it showed entire battlefield. So I was like, okay, let's see what this is. And I had just Tio pinged the instant block her S-craft, which brings up a shield, and it did an attack called Sea Floor, which just flooded the entire screen.
Yeah, it's like a Super Mario RPG attack.
It's Mario RPG or Shinryu from Final Fantasy V.
Yeah.
Yeah, I haven't seen that attack anywhere else. I don't know. I liked it.
No, it's pretty neat. The third stratum is really weird visually. Every monster chest down here is some piece of custom, not quite end game gear for everyone. So if you're missing things for someone and you want to use them, make sure to hit all of those.
Yep, I forgot for a while that Joshua and Estelle needed equipment, and then I realized, oh, I can use some of the things that I've been skipping. Enjoy these boots, Joshua.
Oh man, but you got the wrong person. That's her thing.
Well, she got shoes too. It's fine.
The third stratum is also where the end of floor bosses get interesting again, because that's where Demon Ernest appears.
Oh god. Yep. Demon Ernest, of course, being like 2.5 people tall, and he also summoned a couple of things with him just for fun. But that's what I meant when his S-Craft was the same, except it's just a giant demon doing it now, which was very funny.
It's kind of funny that they keep so many of the moves and they basically just have to go, okay, but give him more ads.
I did not have nearly as much of a problem with that as I did with Hospital Ernest, and even that wasn't really that big of a deal.
How much of an issue did you have with Garcia?
I don't even remember.
I actually thought that was one of the most fun fights.
Yeah, he puts up a good fight. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah, that's a good battle.
I don't remember if I had trouble with it or not.
Mm-hmm.
Which suggests that I didn't. I definitely didn't wipe on any of these.
No. If you made it this far, you should be fine.
But yeah, Garcia is there, and he's been fed the juice, and he does not transform into a demon, but it's still very strong and has a lot of health, and very fast, and just all the good stuff.
Garcia is a fight where they do not give him any ads. They do not have to transform him. They're just like, we gave one of the most fearsome men in Crossbell steroids. Can you take him down, officers? And at the end, you have a cutscene where Randy basically pisses him off to the point of getting him to not transform.
Yeah, he's just like, oh, what? Are you gonna transform, you fucking baby?
Yeah, you know who would have beat you down? My dad. I'm not even my dad, and we beat you down. Oh yeah, come on, cry to God.
I thought you were strong, and you're turning into a demon because of the gnosis. Jesus Christ!
It's really funny how hard he has to go in on it, and then Garcia's basically like, "Fuck you, kid," and collapses. I love that scene because it is the very last thing you get before you walk into a cave and kick off endgame.
I think there was like a little bit of conversation with Garcia where Lyd was just like, yeah, so we're gonna arrest you when this is done. Garcia's like, yeah, I know.
He mostly feels bad that he got his organization wiped.
Which was not his fault. It was the Dawn. We did also meet in the dungeon. And he was just like, you're gonna save me. And they were like, oh, God. Unlock the cage. If you leave the room, you're probably gonna die. Bye.
Yeah. That scene is an interesting... I guess we'll talk about this more in a minute. But yeah, I like how much we leave threads open in this final dungeon. It's like, oh, you thought this was going somewhere? Well, you don't get to see a conclusion.
And if you talk to him again, Lloyd confronts him because he found, we didn't mention this, but he found Guy's police badge in the Dawn's special secret treasure chest. And he's like, so what's this all about? You kill him? And Dawn's like, no. I'm like, yeah, that's what I thought. Bye.
And yeah, we get to High Priest Joachim, and he's just chilling down at the bottom of this. He's now wearing robes, much like a certain a-hole in Sky did. It's just, different style.
he talks like first it's quiet crazy person and then manic crazy person a little later. But he's just like, yeah, I set up the lodges, killed all those children. Yeah, not that one specifically, but I didn't like stop that one. So
Yep. He basically says that while he didn't do all the little details, the master plan was him.
Yeah.
Then he goes, hey, did you know there's a better Gnosis? It's red.
Well, that's after you fight him. He turns his he goes Terrene mode. He turns to ogre mode, and white hair, red eyes, all of that. And you fight it. There's a battle there against him and some robots, of course. Some ancient archaisms. You fight that. It's a pretty normal late game boss battle. I can't remember anything specific from that, but
no, that first form's kind of eh.
And then he's like, okay, I got a bottle of double Gnosis. It's red now. What? And he just chugs the whole thing.
And they do their favorite trick that they do in this engine, which is when a sprite turns into something 3D.
Yep. I think the last boss of all of these games is a 3D monster of some sort, which was a really interesting choice in Sky 1 because it just came out of nowhere. Because you're playing the whole game and it's just, the people and monsters are little sprites and the environments are 3D and never the two shall meet. And then just this giant 3D spider comes out of a door out of nowhere and you're fighting it now.
Yeah, I don't think it ever hits as hard as the first time you see it.
That was one of the best moments in the series, I think, because it's just like, what? Oh, okay, okay, I'll fight it. Yeah, all right.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, he has two clowns with him. They're specifically called clowns.
Deadly Clown and Vital Clown.
If you kill one of the clowns, the floor drops out, which I did not see coming, and Lloyd vanished.
Yes, I actually got hit with that same thing too. I think I lost Joshua because he was closer to the wrong square.
And then I took out the second one from a distance for reasons.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the floor dropping out is... I think that's only really happened once before in the second chapter of Last Boss, if I'm remembering right.
I think there's one that does it in third too, but it's one of the very last 3-part party things.
The worst is still in East 1.
Yes.
Which was a last boss that gave me strife until I thought about it and realized it was a puzzle, which was pretty good. That was a pretty good twist. But it was still hard after the puzzle. I lost track of what I was going with. It's basically, your ground keeps going down, and he can get you in it. He can turns into just like one single square, and he can reach you pretty much anywhere in there, and it do enough damage to him, and he turns like gold and purple.
Yeah, he goes Super Saiyan for no reason for a final form.
One attack of his was like 3 arts in a row, and I had to use Tio's shield for that one. I was only able to get Randy out of the way physically, so I had to pop the shield. And thankfully, even though he used like 3 spells in a row, it blocked all of them. I wasn't sure for a minute. And it's a big thing that hits hard and it has way too much health. It's a Trails boss.
Yeah, he didn't need a third form. You do it, and he basically goes, I can see time. Oh, this is a huge cosmic joke, and dies.
I mean, if we're covering this in detail, we have to remember that Ren shows up, power blasts him. After I don't remember exactly. It's to save us, but she power blasts the giant thing, and it's like red and fleshy. Then you have one really final form where it has like no defense.
Yeah, he uses the immobilize spell as a human. You shit talk him. We go to demon form. He uses it again in demon form, and that's when Ren comes in for the save.
Gotcha. Yeah. Yeah, Lloyd broke out of the immobilization spell with the power of his friendship.
But also with truly shit talking the man.
Yes.
Like next level hater Lloyd Bannings.
I want to get into the characters a little bit before we're done, but Lloyd had some really good moments in this.
Once you get past the point of, oh, this rookie's too wet behind the ears, Lloyd is a pretty good character.
So yeah, then after all is said and done, Joachim dies, and Lloyd's like, "Oh, I didn't save him," and Randy's just like, "Shut up."
Yes.
Shut up, we won.
Yeah, I think Randy actually hits him, and everyone else is like, do not give a "we didn't save the madman" speech. Did you see the man rotting? He was rotting, Lloyd.
And Ren and Estelle and Joshua have a whole scene together. And I'm just, it's like a good scene and touching, and I'm just like, you could have done this in your game, you know?
It is kind of weird that bled over one more game.
Maybe it'll make sense once we encounter School Ren.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't hate it. It is just very weird that a lot of this game is kind of the same arc as Third, but without someone teleporting them together.
And also she doesn't run away at the end.
Yeah.
It's like, I caught you, and they hug and hug. And that's kind of the end of the game, pretty much.
Yeah.
Everyone got arrested. We all left. It's a brand new day. The end.
Yeah, it just stops and does not really show you most of the immediate aftermath.
There's a group photo, which they somehow managed to get Ren in the group photo for some reason.
Oh, she used magic for that. It's Mirage. That's not a real Ren.
It's believable. And yeah, I don't. Then it was over. I was like, oh, all right. I expected like a cliffhanger or something. Not like a Cold Steel 1 cliffhanger, but like they had already set it up. It was a new day in Crossbell, and it's like, you've got a meeting with Dieter Croy. Go have a meeting with him. And they could have like put a little stinger in there or something, but no.
So, having now finished Zero, and with you knowing like 2 or 3 details about Azure, what do you think is coming for you in the next game?
Oof. Honestly, I have no idea outside of what they showed in Cold Steel 2, and I don't understand how we get from here to there.
Totally. No, totally.
It's quite baffling. I assume like they teased at the end, he was like, "Oh, I see the cosmos. I see how Kia got into that suitcase." Whoa. So like obviously we're going to deal with that and that sort of thing.
Yeah, you wanna pitch a theory on how she got in the suitcase?
I feel like Ouroboros is too easy. But, you know, we do have a thief in there. This would be a pretty good theft. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't think there's really enough information to make a guess at this point. I think they did that on purpose.
I did just want to see if you were going to take a wild swing with a theory, because, yeah, from memory, I don't think they give you anything you can use now that I know the answer.
It was Dudley the whole time. Dudley's been behind everything. That damn Alex Dudley.
I I'm gonna be real curious to see how you feel on Dudley at the end of Azure. I think he might be one of the dudes who gets shortchanged the hardest.
I really enjoyed his crafts in the brief time that we had him. Like his like all of the feel better crafts are kind of insane. Just like, oh, I shoot you with my healing bullets. No, and Dudley's is just he punches you.
Slug up, champ.
His S-craft where he loosens his tie and just goes ape. That's pretty good.
I think that's probably one of my favorites in the whole of Crossbell.
I didn't even know that jacket could come off of that model. I didn't know that was an option.
I don't know who on your list of cast and characters are you really excited to see more of? Who are you gonna miss?
Let's see. I would like Ellie to have a plot for herself.
Mm-hmm.
She kind of didn't. Like her issues with her grandfather like were there, but she didn't really have anything to do with his whole plot at all. Like I would say Lloyd, Tio, and Randy all were much closer to the main plot than she was, despite being the granddaughter of the mayor.
Yes.
I guess we could follow up on her how her dad left the country, and then her mom left the country. There's still a lot of questions there for what the heck happened. Like, I like Ellie. I like her in the scenes. She's got good interactions with the cast. She just kind of didn't have a lot going on in this game.
No, I agree. I think it's very interesting that there's a large political thriller backbone to the Crossbell arc, and you feel like Ellie should play heavily into that. And especially in Zero, she really doesn't. And there's a whole bit about how, do I want to get into politics? Is the Crossbell police the right path for me? And then we sort of put that aside in a box and it never comes back.
I'm very curious what we're gonna do with the two downtown gangs, the Saber Vipers and the Testaments. They're like there's way too much setup for them to not still be a major part in Azure. Like, even counting that Wazzy is basically probably just gonna join the team full time. Like, their whole thing is wild, start to finish.
I kind of think that's one of the best arcs in Azure, so I'm looking forward to you hitting that.
All right. I do love how they're like completely indistinguishable from each other at the start of the game, then to the point where it's just the battle scopes are turning back like Saber Viper nail bat Testament knife or whatever, and then when you fight them in mock battle later, it's with all of their actual names.
Yeah, no, those groups have a great development through Zero, and they actually get to take some major stage in Azure.
Excellent. Obviously, Yin is going to continue to be an issue.
Yeah, Heiwei kind of
Heiwei
doesn't have competition now.
That's true. And we all trust Sao so much.
Yeah, a character whose face definitely screams, I will put knives in nobody's back today.
Who, in the middle of a raid on his office said, oh, I guess I get to unlock the limiters. And then we never find out what that meant.
Yup. What else can I say? What else can you say?
What else can I say? I'm kind of wondering what you're gonna do with the Bracer Guild at this point, because Joshua and Estelle are gone now, and like there are characters there, but the only really notable one is Arios. So unless the others start doing stuff.
I mean, there's definitely going to be some stepping up, given that you have a major part of the Crossbell Guardian Force out of commission now.
That's true. They did get into some trouble over there on the west.
Yeah, like let's just think about immediate players off the table going into Azure. We're missing a large chunk of the CGF. There's whatever damage happened to the city. An entire mafia is gone.
Yeah, the upper echelons of the police department all got plotted out. I was gonna say arrested, but probably not. Let's be real.
Large chunks of political power in the city have just been involved in or taken out by what just happened here.
Yes. They mentioned Speaker Hartman particularly, who we did not really bring up, but he's a very much just like just a kind of a one-note stereotype, really, at least as so far. He's just the powerful guy in the government who you do not cross.
Yeah, the shadow broker.
Yeah, which, like, whatever, dude. Let's see, there's the D therefore G cult. Is, as far as we know, we just got rid of its last member, but of course we did not. Of course not. They're not gonna go through all of that and then not have any more of them.
And presuming they were off the grid, what the hell fills that void?
Huh? It's almost like we have like an opening for a supervillain organization with some sort of phantasmal blaze plan.
It's going to be interesting because the instant you start Azure, it's going to answer a question, but not the one you think.
I'm definitely I look forward to more of Lloyd's shenanigans. He's very stupid with women, yes, but I do really like that he pays attention to the plot. Mm-hmm. Like he's not like some sort of in sort of like he is basically a mystery story archetype, even though this isn't really one of those. But he is playing it as if he is in one, and it's very easy to either get to the point where the detective is just unspeakably stupid, can't solve anything, right up until the moment that it all falls into place, or the opposite approach, which I feel like Sherlock Holmes is probably the perfect example of the guy that is just too smart for this world, solves everything, but keeps it to himself for dramatic purposes.
Yeah.
He's not really either one of those. But he's paying attention to the plot and reactive to it, and he's not always right, but he's eventually right. And I like how active he is in the mysteries.
Yeah, if you enjoy that, I look forward to seeing if you get. There's actually an achievement if you manage to find the clues that lead to who killed Guy Bannings.
Okay.
So
interesting.
That was actually pretty impressive to me when I had that pop. I want to see if you also get it, because there's one that I think screws most people over. It almost got me. It'll be interesting.
Hey, I figured out who the smuggler was immediately after talking to them.
Oh yeah.
So like I'm paying attention. I'm keeping my eyes on the game. That was a fun moment where you talk to this nice elderly lady. She's like, "I'm going to see my grandson. We went to Michelin Wonderland together 3 years ago." I'm like, "Oh, you fucking, I got you."
Yeah, you caught that line real quick. It'll be interesting to see, because that mystery is mostly back of the game, but there's a couple hints early.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't expect that to get resolved for quite a while.
Mm-hmm.
That was another one where when when Joachim could see the cosmos, he brought that up,
Yes.
which is funny.
Yeah, I do love that he goes so hard into looking at all of time and space, and all he can do is go, "You don't even know how funny this is. You rube, you charlatan. You're gonna get owned."
Bye, I'll be in hell.
Yup.
Let's see. I feel like we pretty much resolved Tio in this one. Like, there's still future development to be had, but I feel like we pretty much locked down her whole story. There's not really too much to go on going backwards, so I guess if she's having her own journey of self-improvement, that can probably be compelling. Even though I don't know if they would do it twice with Altina, if they would just do the same thing twice.
Yeah, that's a very different one.
Sometimes they do the same thing twice, so.
Altina's an interesting one because, yeah, she kind of feels like she could be treading the path of Milliam, except we know why she wouldn't do that one. And then, yeah, she does kind of have a bit of Tio elements, except you also go, well, you don't really know that anyone mistreated her, just they saw her as less.
Just this robot here.
Yeah.
She's Shion from Kingdom Hearts.
Yeah, there's a little of that, actually.
But without her own personal Roxas. And then Axel is Randy? I don't know, I lost the whole thing.
How do you feel on Randy going into Azure?
I like I like what we've gotten of his backstory. There's still loads of there. Unlike Tio, I feel like there's a lot of room to build on that, on what the hell happened to him, because he keeps dropping things like talking about his blood-soaked past, and to other people calling him son of the war god and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And every now and then he unlocks his power limiter. I'm definitely curious about the whole thing that we got in Cold Steel 2, where Fee's former Jaeger friends were like, so we're gonna be reviving the boss by. I'm wondering how that ties in.
Yeah. Yeah, there's some power vacuums. We already know what happened to the war god, so I can see why you'd have some questions.
Mm-hmm. I want to see the battle.
Unfortunately, I don't think we will.
Oh. Imelda? I want to see what the hell Imelda does. I don't know. It's hard to tell if she's just going to be like an actual major player or if she's just like the comic relief major player. 'Cause she's kind of done both a little bit.
I think I'm most curious about Imelda if we'll see her when we drop in Crossbell and Cold Steel.
Oh, we have to if she's still alive. There's no way they would. If they bring Jingo back, they're not going to forget Imelda.
Anyhow, yeah,
we're probably gonna meet like all the NPCs again, and I'm just gonna be like, "Hey, remember how we quit because we had to talk to everybody in Crossbell too much?"
Yeah, I'll be curious how many of them get ported over to 3D. Really, I'm curious how much of the city they'll allow us to be in.
I did find. Hold on one second while I pull it up.
Mm-hmm.
I did see a Reddit post come up, which I did not click on, but it's a post titled "There are 609 NPCs with new dialogue at the beginning of the final day of Cold Steel 4." So, still a ways to get to there, but I have suspicions that we're gonna find a lot of Crossbell is still there.
I guess so. I was just thinking maybe they wouldn't render certain districts, but I guess so. Good God.
We'll see.
Can you just imagine the point where we have to do 4 whole videos worth of dialogue again, like the end of Cold Steel 2?
Yeah, we were at like 3 by that point.
We hit 3.
I think we did at least splice in the quests when they were like in the area.
Yeah, I think we did very careful routing on those because I had the guide for what we needed to hit.
I think that's that's not every thought that I have about Trails from Zero, but I think that's all the ones that I'm allowed to have for the rest of the night.
I get that.
Pretty much.
Hey, it's very funny that when we started this, I thought, oh yeah, we can wrap this in an hour and knock out another recording afterwards. Nope.
I knew we weren't going to. You need to stop convincing yourself of that.
Look, I run a tighter ship on my other RPG podcasting endeavor.
If it makes you feel better, we're gonna cut a lot more of this than usual.
Oh yeah, I'm looking at the timestamp. Here, leave this in for the people. We're at about 3:15 of raw audio right now. I'm curious where this lands.
I suppose I am as well.
I think the other thing is you cut a lot more side tangents in audio, whereas I leave them because people love flavor country.
I don't think I do cut more side tangents than you do, actually, from the podcasts the horror movie podcast. The ones that I did were pretty rambling. I edited the last few of those, but
that's fair.
Tell you what, last positive thing, which I just kind of didn't mention because we were in let's finish this mode. I did really like the play. In chapter 2. That was very well done. That was cool. I liked like the flips were a bit much, but you know, that's what they got. But there's different environments, different music, like all of the named characters, like you could still recognize them in the play. That was a lot of fun. You know, just stuff like that, where all of it just kind of comes together, is really entertaining. You just gotta kind of do a little bit of legwork first before you get the full effect.
Yeah, I'll be curious to see if you're taking this at a more leisurely pace leads you to some of the same conclusions I did about Azure. I think this will be an interesting discussion if we loop back for one of these in a month or 2.
Yeah, assuming I don't spend an entire month on the last dungeon.
Oh, I can see how you would. It's something.
I bet. Thank you. Hope you enjoyed. I don't have an outro. This is just... don't take any mysterious pills. Don't do that. If you don't know what's in it, don't take it.
Okay, see, the funny thing is, I do basically take pills that are identical to the blue noses in game.
Do they expand your mind?
I don't think it's my mind.
If you take one of them, are you suddenly an incredible gambler?
Yes, I did win $6 earlier.
Okay.
I guess that's not like as good as Bort was doing.
Go do drugs, kids. Bye.
See ya.